and welcome to our last Facebook of 2020. I really didn't think I would ever be saying this when we started all the way back in April. We are trying out a different system today, so bear with us. We've got two microphones, both Odette and myself have one. So just give us a little comment if we're too loud or too quiet, and we'll adjust it so it sounds better for you. Hopefully it's also coming through on both the left and the right ear, because I know that wasn't happening the past weeks. We've sorted that out on the way through. Last week was our Christmas celebration, and because we were down in the kitchen cooking, we didn't think we'd manage to do a live event. So we pre-recorded a load of little videos and we put them into a really good, about an hour-long video talking about all of our Christmas traditions and what we're planning and doing, our favourites. And Susanette's going to share a link to that if you didn't manage to catch it. It's available through our C Hub, and that's where all of our videos are going to be going forward. So if you want to look at any old videos, the C Hub is where you need to go. They're all in categories, so if you're looking for anything cooking, they'll be in Skill Up. If you're looking in anything technology, they'll be in the tech one. And it's really easy to navigate once you're there, but if you need a hand, just give us a call and we can help you with that too.
So Catherine, where can people find the Christmas one? Where would it be?
So the Christmas one is in entertainment, but there's also a link in the messages as well. I've just seen that come through. Thank you very much, Susanette. So I'm Catherine, I'm the Resource Centre Manager. I've got with me Odette, who is, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Odette, I'm the Personal Development Manager, and we are here today to talk about technology, I believe.
And we've got Susanette, who's sitting behind the camera this time, and she is manning our comments. So if you have any comments, just type them in and she will pass them on to us for us to answer. Any comments, any questions? Today we're talking about all things spoken. So I actually said to Odette, you know, I normally say leave your iPhone in your office when you come and do these. Bring it along because it will make so much easier because we can demonstrate instead of just talking about it. So Odette has an iPhone, and what's the talky thing on your iPhone, Odette?
So what I've got on my iPhone, I've got what's called Siri. And Siri is the invisible person on my iPhone that talks to me. So for example, I'm just going to put the sounds on now. So I take, it's 3 fingers and I go tap tap.
Speech on. And
speech is on. It just said speech on. So what I use the speech for example, is if I'm in the dark and I need to see, I go torch on. Let's see if it's worked. I think I have to say, hey Siri. Hey Siri, torch on. And it goes ding.
And make sure you don't point it at that camera.
So then I have a torch and I can go down my garden. I can look for keys or maybe a keyhole, or look if my travel pass in the dark. It's quite a bright light. And then to switch it off, I go, hey Siri, torch off.
Okay, I turn torch off.
And it talks back to me.
And because we can't let Apple have all of the praise for this, you can do this on a Google phone as well, on an Android. So on mine, I've got mine set so that it does, it hears my voice like Odette's. We both set them up so it wakes up when we say it rather than anyone else. So if I say, hey Google, hey, I've got a Facebook video up. I really shouldn't have that when I'm trying to talk to my phone. Okay. Hey Google, torch on. And that's turned my torch on as well. So it works the same for Android and Apple. And then I just say, hey Google, torch off.
It's not.
It is. It's a little bit slower because it's still trying to play the video in the corner.
So that's a really useful thing. Another thing I really like to know what the weather's like. You know, what am I going to put a jumper, an anorak? So I go, hey Siri, what's the weather like in Croydon today?
It's currently cloudy and 1 degree. Expect mostly cloudy skies starting tonight. Temperatures will be fairly consistent, averaging about 1 degrees.
So it kind of gives me if it's going to rain, if it's going to snow, if it's the temperature, the wind, and it's more or less accurate, I would say.
I think it's as accurate as any weather forecast.
Yes, yes.
So you can do the same on Google.
So that's really useful.
And they work the same. I think you don't actually have to say what's the weather in Croydon. You could just ask for the weather, and because your phone knows your location, it will tell you the local weather.
But equally, if I wanted to know where the weather in France or in Italy, I could just ask for that, and it should kind of tell me it goes by the weather report. So
it's as accurate as that
is. Forecast. Yes, it's a forecast.
Do you use it for knowing what the time is in another country?
I do, because I do Skype with my cousin who's in Austria, my brother in France. So sometimes I need to know the time to sort of check, to set up a meeting, to check, I go UK time, and then I sort of say what time it is in their country.
Do you want to demonstrate that one to us?
So, hey Siri, what's the time in Austria?
It's 17:05 in Vienna, Austria.
So 17:05. So there you go. So that's, and it just speaks to you. I don't need to open the phone. I've just kind of just opened the cover. I can speak straight to Siri for those things.
Okay, I'm going to see if we've got any questions or comments from the floor. Do we have any, Susanette?
So there's a lot of comments about in terms of a weather app. Should we try Tokyo? Because I think it's already New Year's Day here in Tokyo.
Let's try.
Yeah.
Hey Siri, what time is it in Tokyo?
In Tokyo, Japan, it's 1:06.
Oh,
it's been the New Year for a whole hour in Tokyo. So that's really useful, as you said, Odette, when you're looking to contact people in another time zone, especially when it's somewhere like Tokyo that is so far away that you might not know. If it's France, it's 1
hour.
Maybe is it occasionally 2? When do we change daylight savings
no,
at the same time?
No, they change at the same time.
Okay.
They change the times.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. So another thing I use is, for example, if I'm playing Scrabble and I need to check the spelling for something.
Yeah.
Or if I hear maybe a place on television, I'm looking at a film and I hear a place, I don't know where it is. Mm-hmm. So it basically kind of brings me to Google, to sort of all the things you can find on the internet. It's like a dictionary as well. You can find things. Mm-hmm. Or if I want to translate something, because sometimes I play Scrabble in French. Sometimes in English, or if I'm talking to family and the word doesn't come, it comes to me in English and it doesn't come to me in French, and so we translate things sometimes. It's
that's really good. I know a couple of years ago, I'm sort of skipping a little ahead. I think when I first got my Google Home Mini, I was trying to remember how to say Happy Christmas in French.
Yes.
And that was when, I can't say her name because she'll wake up, but the Amazon Echo didn't answer me, but the Google Home did.
Shall we see if Siri can say Happy New Year?
Okay.
Let's try it. Hey Siri. I have to put my speech on. Hey Siri, how do you say Happy New Year in French?
In French, Happy New Year is
Bonne année.
Oh God, you're going to have to say that.
Bonne année.
Bonne
année.
Oh yes.
So it's good year, basically, if you would translate it.
Okay.
Good year. Bonne année. So
because I was looking how to spell, because then I was like, oh yes, I know it's Joyeux Noël.
Yes.
Like, but how do you spell that? So that was where, in my experience, the Google was better because it could spell non-English words.
Yes.
Because it's based on Google.
So what else do I use it? Oh, the time.
Do you use it? Oh, use it for the time?
Yes. So, hey Siri, what time is it?
It's 16:08.
So the time is good, the date is good. Hey Siri, what day are we? Oh, you see, that's one thing sometimes with Siri. You have to speak words it's going to understand.
Yeah.
You can't just say things maybe the way you want to. You have to kind of learn how it says. So maybe I should have say, hey Siri, what is the date today? Rather than, let's try that. Hey Siri, what is the date today?
It's Thursday, the 31st of December 2020.
So that's a better way for it. And I think that's
the same with all of them. You learn the way it understands you best.
Yeah.
And actually, quite a lot of them understand you better the more you talk to them,
Yes,
which is
yes.
very interesting.
They kind of learn your accent,
Yes.
they learn your words.
And my weather one, my Lady A, as Maxine reminded me to call her, all I have to say to her at home is weather, and she'll give me the weather forecast, because I've asked, what's the weather, so many times that it's figured out one that I'm going to use. Do you use it for a timer when you're cooking? I know you said you cook quite a bit at home.
I don't tend to, maybe because I have dirty hands or whatever, I don't tend to, maybe it's because I kind of forget I can do it as well. I kind of tend to cook by smell or by asking my husband. But it's true. I suppose, I could definitely use it for timing. I just don't think about it.
That's okay. We'll get on to that. That's where these more sort of hands-free devices are really good, where they come into their own, because you don't need to have your hands on anything.
Another thing I use it actually is to take a photo, because I don't want to faff around.
Do you want to show? Let's demonstrate. That's the whole idea about this one.
Hey Siri, open camera. And that's it. I could take a photo of you, so it's open immediately. So that's really useful, because you're not trying to sort of type in your code or trying to find the app on the camera.
That's really good.
You can just speak it, and let's see if it closes it. Hey Siri, close camera. Oh, it doesn't want to. I have to do that one manually.
And one of the really nice features, this is talking Android versus Apple, or specifically Samsung. Samsungs, you can also take photos by voice. So you can say smile, cheese, or there's one other, I can't remember what it is, and it will take the photograph if you say any of those phrases.
Will it actually take it as a selfie?
No, it will take it in whichever camera mode you've got it in.
Wow, excellent.
That's a Samsung quirk, and you do have to set it up.
Yeah.
But it's quite nice to just hold up a camera and say smile, unless you've forgotten you've done that and you're talking to a load of people.
And you say
it's taken a photo before you want it to.
Yes, they do pick up on conversation. You have to kind of be a little bit careful what you say when they're listening.
Do you use your phone, the Siri, to dictate, to do messages for you?
Yes. Actually, last week I was going to Sainsbury and I needed a shopping list, and I just wanted, to make sure I didn't forget any ingredients. So what did I do? I actually didn't do it through the voice in a sense. I sort of went on the Siri. Let's see if Siri will open it. Hey Siri, open notes.
You'll need to unlock.
There we go. It has open notes. So, hey Siri, take notes.
What do you want it to say?
My shopping list for today is flour, egg, and milk.
Okay, I created a note.
Ah.
My shopping list for today is flour, egg, and milk.
There we go. So
that's really good. So are you making pancakes?
I was probably thinking of pancakes. Shrove Tuesday is going to be coming soon.
All right, well, we'll have a little word with Aisha and see if that's something we can do.
So notes are really good, because then I'm in Sainsbury. I can just ask for the note and it will just read me my shopping list. So that's really useful.
So everyone, let us know what your tricks are for using either Siri or Google Assistant if you've got an Apple or an Android. You can also use Google Assistant on Apple. So Google Assistant's really good at things like routes and maps.
Yeah.
Because that's all built in with Google Maps, so it does that really well. I've also found that it orders an Uber better than Siri does.
Oh.
So you can link your Siri with your Google Assistant so that you can get Siri to open it and activate it. So then you can say, get me an Uber to wherever, and it will do all of that. And so Google Assistant works in very much the same way. There are a couple of things that are different on both of them. So I know on with Siri, you can't add a contact using Siri, unfortunately. You have to type
in all the phone numbers and the names.
But you can make a phone call.
Yes, for example, if I needed to contact a friend, I would say, I would say, hey Siri, phone so and so, and it will just start
Yeah.
reading. Or I can also send a text.
Yeah, and you can
As
send
well.
WhatsApps, I think.
I
I think if you say send WhatsApp to.
Yes, and then afterwards, what I do, I dictate it.
Yeah.
So again, with the dictation, you can't just speak like you speak every day. You have to use simple sentences. You have to choose your words so they're kind of clear and they're not going to be mistaken for something else. So sometimes you have to be a bit more simple, or say a message in a different way. Then you can't just go on and on and on. You have to be very precise and simple. And sometimes, well, it will make mistakes anyways, and your friends just have to know.
And that's
that.
when you receive a message that's been done through Siri or Google Assistant, you go, that's been done by voice, because none of them can spell my name. They all put a C. And I think we have some more questions. So Susanette, could you ask these?
Yeah, so Siri, wow, I'm learning some new things here with Siri. So do you think the Samsung, are you able to open camera?
Yeah, so
Using voice
yeah,
activation?
so if I go, hey Google, open camera. And that has opened my camera. And it's actually opened my open camera.
So I think that
It's a slightly different one.
Yeah, I think that you have to kind of know the command, because
Yeah.
you said, "Hey Google, open."
Ah,
So
that's
those
because
are
you have
the
to-
phrases you have to know.
On both Apple and Android, I'm going to try and do it without saying their wake phrase.
Yes.
You have to set up the phrase. So one of the things you do when you set them up is you sit there and talk to it. And with Google, you say the word hey, then the word Google, and then the word okay, then the word Google, until it learns your voice. So if I was to put my phone here and get Odette to say the phrase,
Hey Google, open camera.
it doesn't do it at all. Because Odette has a different accent to me and puts her stresses in different places.
I see.
So they're all done on your own voice.
Yeah.
So
okay.
no, and I know with Google Assistant, because it's with your voice, it can actually unlock your phone. So it can do everything from a locked phone, because it's as long as you've allowed it to.
Yes.
You don't have to. You can say, actually, I want to have to physically unlock my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can say, if it's my voice, then use it.
So all those kind of fine tuning are done on in the settings.
Yeah, and we can help with that.
Yeah, fantastic.
There's another question. When you write notes, do you need to ask it to save them? Or does it automatically know where to save a document?
So notes are saved in notes, so it doesn't go anywhere else. So it's always there. And I think basically the way, I haven't used it many times, but each time I've used it, when I'm silent for just a little bit, it will then understand it's finished. It will save it in notes because it can't save it anywhere else.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, sort of going with this, reminders are something that go hand in hand in notes. So you can say, hey Siri, remind me to put the washing on when I get home. And because Siri knows when you live,
Ooh.
when you walk in, when you're close enough to your house,
It will come up as a reminder. I've never done that.
So that's a location based. You can also remind me to do this in 20
So
minutes.
let me try this. Let me try this, and I will try tonight for the first time. Hey Siri, remind me to email Catherine when I get home tonight. It's not saying anything.
Do you want to show it in case it's...
Let's try it again. Hey Siri, remind me to email Catherine when I get home tonight. It did it all.
It didn't like it.
Maybe I need to open my phone.
We might need, some of them you need to unlock your phone because it's using things that require a bit more settings.
So...
Or this is when we go, Odette hasn't told her phone where she lives.
So or maybe, I don't know if I did. Hey Siri, remind me to turn the light off when I get home. So I've never done a reminder.
Okay, that's
so
fine. It might be that it hasn't, the app itself hasn't ever started up.
maybe not. So I'll let you know if it works.
Yeah, you let me
just
know.
in case.
In general, that will work. But yeah, reminders can be time-based or location-based if it knows about locations. You can also, if you've got off a bus in an unusual position, so you've got the bus home and your normal stop is closed for some reason,
Yeah.
you can say, navigate me home, as long as your phone knows where you live, and it will give you walking directions to get you home.
Navigate me home. So I think that's what it's all about. It's about learning the sentences, the commands that you need to say. Because if you don't say that right word, if you say take me home, it actually won't understand.
No,
you have to know those words. Interesting.
And it's, the Google Assistant works really similarly. They can also change your volumes as well. So if you can't remember how to change any volume, you can say increase volume, decrease volume, set volume to 50%.
Would you have to always say, hey Google?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to initiate the conversation.
Right.
It's like saying hello to someone.
Yeah.
The other thing you can...
Sorry, Catherine.
That's okay.
Would you then have to say goodbye?
No.
No. So it's only...
When you stop talking, they all assume that you've stopped talking to them and stop listening.
Okay.
The other thing you can do on an iPhone, which is really cool, you can turn Voiceover on and off using Siri.
Because I always do it with the 3 fingers.
Yes.
I go tap tap.
Yeah. But if you, for instance, you were to hand, not me your phone, because I can use them with Voiceover, but if someone else needed to use your phone, you can turn it off using Siri.
Let's see. So it's off at the moment. Hey Siri, turn Voiceover on.
So it doesn't turn the speech on and off, it's the full voiceover it turns on and off.
Yes. Hey Siri, turn the voiceover on.
It probably can't do it because it's already on.
Maybe.
So it can turn it off and it can turn it on.
Okay.
That's in addition to, usually if I've had my hands on your iPhone, it will have triple tap, or the equivalent on a modern iPhone that doesn't have a home button, so there's a quick shortcut to turn on your voiceover. In case someone else uses it for you to help you and forgets to turn voiceover back on.
So I've got a question.
That's okay.
It says, is that the same as Bixby?
So I haven't talked about Bixby. Bixby is very specific. It's only on Samsung phones, and it's only on a certain number of Samsung phones. And I have Bixby on my phone, but I haven't ever set it up because Google Assistant is good enough. Is my answer to that.
Is it meant to be more sophisticated or more advanced?
So it's Samsung's own voice assistant. It's the one that's built into the phone. So on my phone, I've actually got a Bixby button. So instead of having to say the wake word, I've got a physical button I could press to invoke Bixby.
Yeah.
And it's meant to work a bit better with the built-in Samsung apps. But the joy of Android is if you don't want to use what came with your phone, you choose something different.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've got many built-in apps left on my phone. So are there any more questions there?
I was just trying to create who's Samsung and who's Apple fans.
Oh no, we have to ask Android Apple, not Samsung Apple, because Samsung is a subsection of Android.
Okay, I stand corrected.
So we have
Android, so I should put
who's for Apple and who's for Android.
Who's for Apple and who's for Android.
The world will be divided.
And it is, and it's all personal preference. But as we're saying, sitting here, you can do very much the same with both of them. If I go, hey Google, send a message to Odette. And because my voice is off, it's not telling me. It would say, do you want to send an SMS or a WhatsApp? So I'd say, WhatsApp. It was listening, so it might not do very well. It was listening, so I'm going to have to do it again. So, hey Google, send a message to Odette. WhatsApp. how are you doing today, Odette, on this Facebook Live session? And then I say send. And that would be very similar on Siri.
I can feel it vibrate. Let's see.
I think you've got
Speech on. WhatsApp. Now. Catherine Turner. How are you doing today, Odette, on this Facebook Live session? Button.
Do you think I can answer you with the Siri?
Have a go.
Okay. Hey Siri, send a message.
Catherine Turner. How are you doing today, Odette, on this Facebook Live session? Button. One notification.
Hey Siri, send a message.
Catherine Turner. How are you doing today, Odette, on this Facebook
Siri's
Live
having a bit
session?
of a...
Button. One notification.
Hey Siri, send a message.
Now. Catherine Turner.
Maybe you have to just clear the notification
maybe.
because he's getting
One
himself
notification.
focused.
Yeah.
WhatsApp. 4. Back button.
Hey Siri, send a
Catherine,
message.
thanks for the recipe. This is how my spell and turned out. It was.
No, it's starting to read all my
Oh
WhatsApp.
no. Okay, so you could, in theory, send a message back
I have to
exactly the
get
same
used
way.
to it. Yeah.
But they're all very similar. You just have to learn the different ways of doing it. So the really interesting thing is it spelt your name correctly, but it didn't put a capital letter. But it did put a capital letter on Facebook and Live, and it put a question on the end, question mark on the end. And I didn't tell it to put any of that in.
Right.
So sometimes your dictation will be really good,
Yes.
and other times it will be a little bit iffy.
Yeah.
Google Assistant can work offline. You can download the dictionary. I don't know if Siri can at the moment.
I've never tried. I don't know.
I know the last time I tried with Siri, you had to have an internet connection of some kind for it to work. Google Assistant can do certain things without, so it can send a text message, it can turn things on and off on your phone, it can open apps, but it couldn't, for instance, search the internet.
Could it send an email?
Not if you're offline, but yes, it can send an
But
email.
then would you have to then have in your contacts an email somebody would have to be put in?
Yeah, so this is where it's probably easier on an iPhone, because if you say send an email, it will only use the built-in email app. If I send an email, it will ask, do you want to use Gmail, Aquamail, or Mail?
So it starts to ask you all those,
But that's sort of, unless anyone has any more questions about phones, I also want to talk about standalone assistants, so I'm going to give you a bit of time if there's any more questions.
Well, there's a lot of Android fans.
Maxine's on, isn't she? And so's Bob.
Yes. We have one Apple fan. And there is an Apple girl, she said. But there was a question which is, what are the gaps/opportunities to design new functions that would be very useful to our members? Any unmet needs?
So there are a couple, and actually we found them recently. One of them is you can't add a contact by voice. You have to be able to touch the screen to do that.
So it'd be really nice to be able to add a contact
By voice.
With Siri. That would be really useful.
And sometimes searching the internet is a little bit peculiar because a lot of the internet is really visual and it tries to tell you all this information, but you really still have to touch the screen to navigate through.
Would you think, Catherine, that one could have Alexa on a phone?
Nah.
Oops, I said that.
You said her name.
I said her name.
The answer is yes, you can have. I'm just going to hit the mute button. So we're going to do it again. I feel we're going to talk about it again. You can. I have Alexa on my phone.
Okay, so that exists.
It doesn't wake up when I say the word at the moment, but if I was to go into the Alexa app, which is how you set them up,
yes,
it would work with the wake word, which for me is Alexa on all of my devices, but you can have Echo or computer.
Okay.
So if there are no more questions from the floor.
Well, we were talking about Apple and Bob said green or red.
I don't like either. I like them to be a mixture. So the reason I've actually had my Google Mini on mute all the time because they're both set up to understand my voice. So I'm just going to unmute both of them.
By the way, the mic's off. The microphone is back on.
So the great thing about Google Assistant is it tells you when you turn the microphone off and it tells you when you turn the microphone on. So I'm just going to point my mic at it.
The mic's off. The microphone is back on.
And that's a slidey switch on it, and you also turn the volume up this is the bit I don't like. You have to tap the sides. You can speak to it to turn the voice up as well, but I find that every time you clean, you change the volume level on the Google Mini.
Yeah.
Because you invariably pick it up by its volume buttons.
Yes. And if you were doing some cooking, if your hands were dirty, you wouldn't really want to.
You don't have
touch
to.
it.
So
Yeah.
we've also got Lady A, as we're going to call her, when we don't want to wake her up. And the one we've got here is the Echo Dot, I think it's the 3rd edition. It's still the hockey puck size rather than the ball one. And I've got it in a wall mount, so if I pick up my extension lead, it would hang from the wall flat against, and there's no cables hanging around, which is really nice. And these both work in the same way that we just talked about Siri and Google Assistant, because the Google Home Mini is Google Assistant, it's just a standalone thing. And I use them much the same way that you said you use your phone. So first thing in the morning, I will get up and I will go, Alexa, weather.
In Pit Lake, it's 0 degrees Celsius with cloudy skies. Tonight, you can expect cloudy skies moving in and out, with a low of -3 degrees.
And would it then not understand me, or would it understand?
These will understand both of you. So the
Okay.
great thing about these, they're standalone devices. You need to have a Wi-Fi connection in the building which you want to have it.
Yes.
And for a Lady A, you need to know someone who has either a smartphone or a computer to set it up for you. With the Google Home Mini, you need to have, I think it only works through a smartphone. You have to have a smartphone to set that one up.
And do you need to have like an email address as well?
So you need to have a Google account to use the Google Mini.
Yeah.
You need to have an Amazon account to use the...
Right. So you need to be able to pay online. Do
You don't
you
have to give any payment details.
Okay.
Because you don't have to use them to pay it for anything.
Right. But you could use them to shop, couldn't you?
Yeah, you
Yes.
could. I don't, because I like to at least have a bit more information than say, just buy me this.
Yes.
You can buy
Careful
directly.
what you say. Careful.
So the other thing that you can do, which is really good, there are 3 settings for shopping on Lady A. There is no, I definitely don't want to shop. So you
Yeah.
turn it off. You can't do voice purchasing.
Right.
There is yes, I definitely do, where you turn it on, and if someone walks into your house and says, buy 3 dozen packs of toilet rolls, it will.
So you would have then all your card and your bank details already
linked
set up
with your
in there.
Amazon account,
Ah,
not on
yes.
that device.
Yeah.
And then there's the 3rd setting, which is the best one if you want to make payments, and that is it asks for a PIN.
Okay.
So it will then ask someone walks in, makes the joke, and then asks them for a PIN, and they go, oh, I can't do it.
Yes.
So the main difference I find between them is the different information they give you. So this is my Google from home, so if I ask it to tell me the weather, it will tell me the one in South Croydon.
Okay.
So if I go, hey Google, what's the weather?
Right now in South Croydon, it's 0 degrees and mostly cloudy. Today, it'll be partly cloudy, with a forecast high of 1 and a low of -2.
So they're saying vaguely
They're
the same,
yes,
which is unusual.
Oh, let me ask. Hey Google, is it going to snow today?
No, today in South Croydon, there's no chance of snow.
There we go.
But the really good thing, I think you can only ask this of Google. Hey Google, when will it rain?
Although there's no chance of rain in South Croydon today, there's a moderate chance of rain tomorrow from about 8 p.m. until about 9 p.m.
And if we do the same, Alexa, when will it rain?
Light rain is possible tomorrow, around 6 p.m. You can expect about 0.5 millimeters.
So the difference I've got at the moment as well, there's a different voice. And that's
Yes.
my choice.
Okay.
You can't change Lady A's voice. She is always the lovely, calm lady. Google has got a couple of different voices. And I deliberately have picked a male voice for my Google Assistant and a female for my Lady A.
Like that.
So I know which one's talking to me if one of them starts talking. I will say having them in the house, Google Assistant gets set off more accidentally.
Okay.
So I will hear the bloop of, oh, I've heard something more often than I do with Alexa. I've got them both set up so that they make a sound.
Now, I think some people are nervous or worried that there's like a microphone listening at them all the time in their house. What do you have to say to that?
So the microphone is there and it is listening, but it's only actually listening for its name. The rest of it,
So there's not somewhere in the dark blue yonder people listening to what's happening in their house?
So this is a yes and no.
Right.
It doesn't get listened to by a person, but sometimes it does get listened to by a computer,
Right.
where it's looking for certain phrases that it will then flag up as
Yeah.
worrying.
I think also I've heard of people worried that then somebody would know if there's somebody in the house or not, so burglars would know when to come because there's nobody in the house. Well, how likely do you think that is?
You can't get hold of someone else's Alexa. If that is only stored on either Amazon servers or Google servers.
Right.
It's not accessible by the general public.
Right.
The great thing about both of them now is you can do something called drop-in.
Yes.
So let's try this. I don't know what it's called downstairs. It's not called Resource Centre. Alexa, drop in on Echo.
Croydon's Echo, right?
Yes, please.
Drop-in within your household is not enabled.
So I haven't turned it
Not
on,
enabled.
but if
Household
we
members
did,
can instantly connect to your Echo devices. They can also see which devices are active.
Alexa, stop. So if you've got it set up, you can
Yes.
drop in on any other device that's connected to your Amazon account.
Right.
So I have a lot of them at home. But for instance, if someone's in the kitchen,
Yes.
they can drop in on all of the upstairs rooms saying, I'm putting the kettle on, do you want a cup of tea?
Right. Yes. So that would actually create like there's
It's an
something
intercom.
happening. Yeah.
The other thing you can do, if you have more of them and they're actually not even on the same Wi-Fi network,
Yeah.
they can still drop in on each other as long as they're on the same
So
Amazon account.
So say you were on holiday and you were in Italy.
Yeah.
And you wanted to pretend there's somebody in your house so that the burglars, would think you can actually say drop in and say something so there's
Yes, yeah. So from your
that's
phone,
very-
you can
yes.
drop in on the device.
That's like Home Alone.
Yeah.
It is like Home Alone.
say hello to the cat.
The other thing I'll say, Google's much better at answering questions than
Yes.
Lady A is. And Google often gives you more local information rather than global information.
Yeah.
Okay, so that goes into a question. So 2 questions were what's the difference between the two? And then which one's better quality?
So
And Bob wants to get the Google one.
So I've actually got sitting here the 2 equivalent devices. They're both the smallest one and they're both the sort of vaguely hockey puck one because I thought that was the fair trial. So we're going to play a radio station, so I'll let someone tell me which radio station I should play and we'll compare the sound quality between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
Because I think that's fair rather than anything else. But I'm going to let the Alexa Lady A is slightly bigger and has physical buttons on the top which are all tactile, so you can feel the difference between them.
Yes.
So it's got a volume up, a volume down, a mute and a action button. So sometimes if you've got them set up with your own really high quality speakers, which you can with the Lady A.
You can actually have them with speakers you have in
Yeah,
the room.
it's got a 3.5mm jack, so you can
yeah.
just audio out to any speakers you've already got. And yes, they sound amazing through really good speakers.
Yeah.
But the Lady A, you can put a physical speaker.
Yeah.
The Google Home, it's only Bluetooth speakers you can connect to it.
Bluetooth. Okay.
So you can connect speakers.
Price wise.
These are the same sort of price.
Okay.
When they're not on sale, they're usually about £50 each.
Okay.
When they are on sale, they can go anything from 18 if you're really lucky on a sale.
Yeah.
I was very tempted by the new Echo, but I held myself back. I have enough of them at home already.
And how do they charge? Are they battery or?
So that's why they've both got cables.
Oh yes, they're mains.
They're mains powered. However, I know for the Amazon Echo, not the latest generation, but all the previous ones, you can get a battery base unit, so you could move it somewhere there wasn't power. For instance, if you wanted it in the bathroom, because there's never power in a bathroom.
True.
As long as you still have Wi-Fi, it will work. If you do not have Wi-Fi, it will stop working.
Yeah.
Okay, magic.
Okay, so we'll start with Lady A. So Alexa, play Magic.
Magic Radio from Planet Radio.
Wanted to say really a huge
So this
thank
is
you.
at about half
I know
volume.
that 2020 has been so unbelievably
And I'm going to turn it
shocking and
up.
difficult.
I'm going to use the
and,
button rather than speaking to it. You could say,
distressing,
Alexa,
and
maximum volume.
for so many of us, and it really
this
was
is
so
the maximum
unbelievably
volume.
unexpected. I think it's taken us all a long time to even just adjust and to get our heads around what's happened. But I know this much. I know that through all this, I've never felt more part of a loving and supportive.
So we've used.
And this is sort of the minimum volume, which you would never really listen to it at, but
But maybe
You'll find it
sometimes.
difficult, but what makes you laugh and what's made you
Alexa?
smile as well.
stop.
All this
So that was halfway to maximum.
Yeah.
And we'll try the same with the Google Home. Hey Google, play Magic.
Streaming Magic Radio UK from TuneIn.
Might be a different Magic. It's gone.
we've got a fighting chance that
I'm gonna-
2020.
Oh, increase the volume. Alexa, no, wrong one. Stop. That's the other problem you have. You forget which one you're talking to. Hey Google, play.
One might be a little bit easier. So my kids would have said, that's mum doing a mum talk. And I hope that's been okay with you.
Volume 50%.
Thank you so much for everything and your support and your loyalty.
I find that
And hey Google,
clearer.
hey Google, stop.
I find that speaker better, but then it's only a speaker. If you were connected to Bluetooth, or
I'd
if
say
Alexa was
there's more bass
yes
in the
Yes.
Alexa.
in the Lady A.
And I will say we didn't do this test fairly because the microphone is closer to the Google Home Mini.
Right.
That was not clever of us.
But yes,
And I'm very sorry if I keep setting off your devices at home.
yes.
So yeah, if you want to have a play with them, let me know. I can bring my Google Home Mini in if anyone wants to have a go at both of them. Because really the best way to do it is for you to have a proper play and to hear the difference in person rather than down a microphone.
Yeah.
As I said, the Alexa tends to be more bassy. It's got a slightly bigger speaker now. The Google Home is a bit more trebly. And the other thing, I bought my Google Home in. I'm going to spend 20 minutes when I get home setting it back up on my Wi-Fi. If I bought my Alexa in, I would have set it up on the Wi-Fi here, walked straight back home, plugged it back in, and it would work.
Because
So
Alexa remembers.
Yes, Alexa remembers different Wi-Fis. Much, much easier if you're ever wanting to change location than the Google Home Mini, which it takes forever to set up and then you have to reset it to factory settings, and it didn't want to work this morning.
So could you, for example, take an Alexa on a holiday to a hotel? A bed
As long as there was
breakfast?
Wi-Fi that you could
Yeah.
access that didn't require a password to get into, yeah.
Right, so I mean, if you were, if you went over to see family for
Yeah.
a little bit, or if you had a holiday home in Spain,
Yeah, you can
and
take it
wanted
with
to
you.
take it with
The
you.
only caveat is if you then change it so it's in that location, it doesn't necessarily play everything that you would expect
Of
it
course,
to.
because then it might pick up the Spanish radio
Yes.
and the Spanish. Yes.
But yeah, if you're looking for longevity and you might be changing your Wi-Fi, Alexa's easier. If you're looking for more sort of robust answers to questions, that's the Google Mini. As I said, I've still got both at home, and I ask them different questions.
So if you were looking for recipes, which one would be the best?
The Google.
the Google. If you were asking for like information, like a dictionary, like kind of description of words, of
Lady A.
meanings, Lady A.
But I think that's because I've had a Lady A longer. So I got used to doing how do you spell, what does this word mean with Lady A,
Right.
rather than with the Google.
So are they slightly different commands? Do they actually respond to different words slightly?
The only thing I know that I cannot do on my Lady A,
Right.
and I have to find the exact phrase, and I won't remember it now,
Yeah.
on the Google Home Mini, is I've got a puzzle a day calendar.
Yes. Yeah.
And I forgot to do it for quite some time. And it says how many days through the year it is, so it will say 300 and whatever. And I needed to ask her what number day it was through the year. So that I could know how many I could go to.
Yes.
And a Lady A couldn't do it. But the Google Home could. If I found the right phrase.
So it's finding the right.
Sometimes. It's perseverance and finding the right phrase.
Yeah. Do we have any questions, Susanne?
Well, we have Ola
Hey.
online, and he's literally answering all the questions, answering it.
Wonderful.
All the questions that needs to be
Oh,
answered.
fantastic.
Great.
But I think there's just general conversations about Lady A and Google, and some prefer Google, and some talk about their experience of Alexa. So it's a lot of comments and conversation going on.
That's
which is quite
wonderful.
good.
It's all about sharing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I spotted something about if you say good morning, you can get it to do lots of things. Was that about the Google Home? Did I see that rightly?
I think
that's Ola's.
Yes.
So if
I think Ola was saying as well that if you leave if you have a new Wi-Fi, you have to reprogram everything again.
I've heard that people ask their devices to play music, for example. So what would you need to do if you had, say, a collection of music?
So you can't get it to play physical discs you have.
Right, yeah.
It has to be through some form of streaming service. So because we have Amazon Prime, we can ask Lady A for songs, and it may or may not play it depending if it's on the Amazon Prime list. Because I don't have any premium streaming, and that's not what I use my Google Home for, we'd have to ask for genres or artists, and it would play those.
So for example, would you say like you would have to pay extra, sort of register for music?
So there are a couple of ways with Lady A. The two easy ones are if you've already got an Amazon account and want Amazon Prime, which gives you lots of other benefits as well as the music, or there's just the Amazon Music subscription.
Right.
And the Amazon Music subscription, there's a different price for just on an Echo, or for multiple devices.
And I have a few other questions. So, for example, if you wanted to do exercise, and could you actually access some kind of audio exercise?
I have no idea.
Let's try. Alexa, play exercises for the arms.
Sorry, exercise pullover machine arm and foot bar released by the Hollywood Edge sound effects library.
Alexa, stop. She's telling me where I can.
Yeah, so no, she can't play that one on the subscription we have.
No.
So this is them basically as they are, but you can also have additional skills. So skills are like apps on your phone. They give you additional features. So the one I have on Lady A at home, one of the few, is the bus timetables app. It is great
yes.
once you set it up.
Will it give you real-time?
Yes, so what you do, you set up the bus. So I've got it set up for the bus going into Croydon and to New Addington.
Yeah.
And I say, I use the exact phrase, and it will tell me the bus times for that stop, and it will say there's one in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 18 minutes, for instance.
Fantastic. But you have to set it up. And the setup requires a 10-digit
code, and it never works the first time because you have to speak it in.
Wow.
So I know that's a pain, but
Right.
once it's set up, it works. You can also do quizzes on them, so there's skills for quizzes.
Oh, it's the skills. So you have to learn all this new vocabulary, don't you?
There's also an advent calendar.
Ah,
So
right.
it won't work now. They both had an advent calendar.
Yeah.
This one, pointing at the Google Home, told me a bad Santa joke most days.
Oops. Okay.
Lady A occasionally told me a fact, told me a bad cracker joke.
Okay.
Today, if you say good morning to Lady A, she tells you a fun fact. Every single day she'll tell you
Is
a
it
different fact.
because it's the advent calendar thing?
Every day.
Right.
So
every
if you
day,
do it
just
now,
every day.
you don't even have to say good morning in the morning.
Okay. Alexa, good morning.
Good morning. It's the last day of 2020, and crikey, what a year it's been. Here's to endings and new beginnings. Did you know you can ask me to sing Auld Lang Syne?
So
Shall we ask
You
her?
can ask, yeah.
Alexa, can you sing Auld Lang Syne?
She didn't hear you. 'cause you were
Alexa,
Try again.
Alexa, can you sing Auld Lang Syne?
Should old acquaintance be forgotten?
Alexa, stop.
She's getting better at singing, I'll tell you that, because she wasn't great a couple of years ago.
Oh, another thing, Catherine. What about talking books?
So, if you have, again, we'll talk about Lady A more because I know her better.
Yeah.
If you have Audible books,
So if you're registered,
Yeah.
if you're sort of paying for
paying
the
for them.
subscription, yeah.
or actually even if you have your Kindle books,
Right.
you can listen to them both on there.
And you would just need to say the title, so how, when you have a skill like that, do you have to say
So
a
because
word
that is-
to wake it up?
So because that is built in with Lady
Yeah,
A,
yes.
you don't need an additional skill for that. So
okay.
all you need to say is play my book. Which we don't have any at Croydon Vision audiobooks listed with Audible.
Would it know, for example, if I sort of start to listen to a chapter and then I say stop and I go and do other thing and I come back and say play my book, do you know, would it sort of pick up where it stopped?
And if you've got it on your phone,
yeah,
and you listen on your phone for a bit, and then you want to listen on your Lady A device, they will do what's called whisper sync. So they will synchronise. You might have a couple of seconds earlier than you were at, but they will synchronise across.
Wow.
And if you're reading on a Kindle and listening as an audiobook and want to listen on your Lady A device, it will do that as well. And I'm sure there are equivalents for the Google Home, but I would have to look into that a bit more.
Yeah. And do you know if the RNIB books are like that as well? Do you know if they can be listened to on the Lady A? I don't know. I'm just asking.
So this is where I know you can on an iPhone through their proprietary app.
Right.
But I don't think you can.
We can ask them. I will ask the VI Talk.
And I know some talking newspapers you can get on there as well.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Ours is a bit hit and miss.
Because also local libraries have a lot of talking books online now.
But they may not be accessible.
But they may not.
There.
It'd be interesting if we could ask Croydon Library. I'll ask the library. I'll find out. It'll be interesting to know.
So are there any more? I'll just wait. Susan's typing an answer, so I'm presuming there are some more questions.
Lots of comments, but one of it was about, I've just responded to Bob about
thank you.
the sale of, about how much it cost. And I'm asking about talking books, which you've mentioned. I asked earlier a question about 2020, what a year. What are you looking forward to 2021? And Ines said more technology sessions.
Okay, I'm sure we can do that.
It'd be really interesting to know if any of our viewers out there use these devices to listen to books.
Yes.
I think we're upsetting them quite a bit at the moment because we keep setting them off as well. Every time we wake them up.
Yes.
That's also amusing if you're on a video call. I would suggest you mute your device.
Oh,
because if someone else on the video call knows you have one, they will often have fun by waking it up and getting it to play stuff.
Where's the best place to get one of these?
So you can get them from Argos. Currys, PC World, most supermarkets have got a little technology area. And also they'll always have them set up so you can play with them beforehand.
Okay.
The other option is my favourite place, which is online. And they'll be delivered to your door.
So Bob said that he's going to PC World to get one.
Wonderful.
That's good. And Anna said that she does listen to audiobooks all the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. That's really good to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they all change every year. I think the Google Home Mini is now called the Google Nest. But it's the same size, it's the same sort of device. You can get them in different colours as well. Mine are both in charcoal. They come in a range of colours from very light grey to the charcoal. I find the charcoal shows the dust less. It's an off black, but it's not going to show any marks like the really white ones will.
Is it called Google Mini?
Google Mini, or I think they're now called the Google Nest Mini. It's approximately the size of a hockey puck with rounded edges. Would be my. I can hand it to Odette and she can probably describe it better for me. Alexa, no, Google.
According to Wikipedia, Google is a multinational corporation.
Alexa, stop. Oh, this one's very amusing because I did it the other day. Alexa, hey Google.
I think you've got me confused with someone else.
Choosing songs is only available
Hey,
to
Google.
Spotify Premium.
Stop.
They'll take over your life if you're not careful.
And both of them have the ability to speak back to you as well. So when I first had them, I would stand by one, put it on mute, and get the other one to say, Simon Says,
Oh, yes.
the other one's better. You can tell what little fun I have. So yeah, that's if there's nothing else, we will say
that's-
Happy New Year to everyone.
And shall we get them to sing All Lang Syne then? Do you think Google might to finish us off?
Hey Google,
Hey Google.
sing Old Lang Syne.
Should old acquaintance be forgot, and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot, and auld lang syne? For auld lang syne, my dear, for auld lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet, for auld lang syne.
So I'm just gonna turn it down.
I know you know what's up.
Using the right button. Oh, wrong one.
Yeah.
So just a reminder about next week's session. Next week we are doing Keep Fit, helping us work off some of these calories we might have put on over the Christmas period with the copious numbers of sweets I've definitely eaten, and biscuits and turkey,
Pudding and chocolate.
and pudding and chocolate and all of the fun things. We're going to be back in the studio at 4 o'clock, and it will be Keep Fit, where we'll be just doing some little more active things to keep us
So,
going.
do you think it might be nice for people to wear loose clothes? Maybe?
Yeah, I think it'd be sensible
Yeah.
to wear. I've got really tight trousers on today, not a good idea. And I've got my boots on. And I know when Frances was here last time, she told me I had to take my boots off and wear more sensible shoes. And because we were in the resource centre with the nice soft carpet, I was allowed to wear my socks. So if you are wearing sensible shoes, sensible clothing, a bit more movement so you can move, and we'll make sure as always that all of them are accessible, whether you are in a chair, just not very mobile, or fully able and running around the building. So thank you very much.
And